Hello again, my Wulong Fallen Dynasty family. This is Kadimo with another build video. This time, something that's quite unusual for me. I normally make builds that are quite good, or at least useful for both PvE and PvP. But for this particular case, this is exclusively for PvE. Trust me, you don't want to use this in PvP. I tried. Even with making a few changes and adjustments, it's just not a good idea to use in PvP, considering how focused on martial arts this build is. All of our damage, the main output of damage comes from the martial arts, and if you are familiar with PvP, you know that using martial arts in PvP can be quite costly, because you will get deflected nearly every single time. So I would not recommend using this for PvP. If you want to give it a go, trying this build and using it in PvP, feel free to do so. As I said, with some adjustments, it gets a bit better if you use it in PvP with a few changes, but still, it's not something I would recommend for PvP. So let's move on and talk about this build, which is quite good for PvE, as I said. So the build itself uses the main focus here is using the Grace of Shennong, the Red Emperor, which all pieces combined will give you spirit gain from normal attacks. It will give you fire phase consumption spells reduction of minus 2.5%, martial arts spirit consumption minus 2.9%. It will give you berserker might upon a deflection, and it will give you the subtlety of fire phase. And in this case, what does this mean? Means that it requires 70 or greater fire virtue value to activate, and when you do hit an enemy with the martial arts attack, you will gain up to 5 stacks of subtlety of fire phase, and each stack will increase HP damage dealt with martial arts. This is why the build is so heavily focused on martial arts. On top of that, we are also using Qianzi, which is the divine beast that will automatically increase your martial arts damage by up to 7.8%. It also reduces the martial arts spirit consumption by minus 2.6%. It gives you a boost of negative effect duration upon yourself of minus 3.6%, and it also has the slow on enemy upon martial arts. Talking about the weapons themselves, I'm currently using the dual halberds of Lady Hao, which if you want this build to work as I'm using it, you need a weapon that comes with the Beckoning Pine Martial Arts. Also known as the spin to win, which is basically what you are going to be doing using this build. You are just going to spam spin to win, basically. That's the idea. We are having this with melee attack power, martial arts damage increase, flame attack power, because we will be buffing the weapon with the fire enchant spell, basically giving fire to our weapons. It also comes with wizardry spell spirit consumption, but in this case it's not that useful, but again this is locked and cannot be changed. For the other weapon, we are using the Spear of King, just because it was the weapon I could find amongst my stash that comes with the Grace of Shennong. This one comes with the Grace of Shao, which will give you an enemy stats effect accumulation by itself of plus 7.2%, which is not too bad considering. But we also get the crossbow using the set bonus requirement mitigation as usual, which reduces everything that comes with the build. For the spear, we are using damage dealt in desperate condition, which again it's locked, cannot be changed. Flame attack power, power gain upon martial arts, and negative effect duration on enemies. For the remaining pieces, we got flame attack power, negative effect duration on enemies, and damage dealt. On this one, we got ranged attack damage, which cannot be changed, flame attack power, enemy status effect accumulation to get them burning faster, negative effect duration on enemies plus 2.8, and positive effect duration on us of plus 2.9. For the pieces itself, I got 2 medium weight pieces and 2 lightweight pieces. Again, as you can also see, they are only up to +8. My weapon is up to +9 after much farming to get the required materials to do so. But unfortunately, every time you want to upgrade a piece of armor, or a full set of armor, better saying, to +9, you're going to need 12 pieces of rank 9 leather, which, considering how many build videos I make, it would just be unthinkable for me to be farming all that long to get enough to upgrade all of these pieces. So they stay at +8, but that doesn't affect the special effects of the armor itself. So this one comes with martial arts spirit consumption, which is useful for this build. I have also changed the one to put it martial arts damage up to 2.9, flame attack power, burn accumulation, negative effect duration on enemies, and again, same for this one, martial arts damage, flame attack power, burn accumulation, martial arts spirit consumption reduction, and negative effect duration on enemies. You'll probably notice by now this is part of the Strategist of Genius set. The reason why I'm using this one is that just with 2 pieces, you get enemy status effect accumulation and power drop upon fatal strike on enemy. So again, because we are going to be melting the enemy's spirit bars with a spin to win, getting boosts to our attack, having a power drop on the enemy after a fatal strike, it's useful here, and it fits the build in a way. For the rest of the pieces, as you can see, it's part of the Shenong set, but it also, both of them have as much as possible martial arts spirit damage increase, flame attack power, martial arts spirit consumption decrease, and negative effect accumulation on enemies increase. For the accessories, use what you can get. I'm using the silver inlay Liubu dice because it's part of the Strategist of Genius set. This one comes with spell duration, which is useful for our buffs, flame attack power increase, and haste upon deflection, which is also useful considering every time you deflect the enemy, you'll have the haste buff for a while, which also will help on the long run to get that damage going, and faster movement around the enemies if needed. This one, I'm using the Warfare Classics just because it was one of the few I had that comes with martial arts damage. I couldn't find the silver inlay Liubu dice with the same. If I had one, that will be the cherry on top of the cake for this build. This one comes, as I said, with martial arts damage, fire phase spell spirit consumption, and flame attack power. In this case, it comes with toxin attack power, which doesn't really matter here. It's probably one of my few builds that I'm not using poison or toxic at all, which I gotta admit, I do miss using it, because poison and metal phase spells in this game are probably amongst my favorite. But yeah, this is basically the build. So again, the idea here, it's very simple. You are going to buff with this. Oh, I forgot to talk about the wizardry spells, I'm sorry. As I said, you are going to be buffing with the amplified damage to get a bit more damage going. We are going to cast flame weapon to give fire to our swords. If needed, if you are fighting a more tanky enemy, it's useful to have the enhanced defense, because this will allow you to continue to do the attack even if they try to attack you in the process. And bursting fireball, just because I was trying to use this build in PvP and this was the best one I could find for the effect. I will put a couple of fights here that I managed to use, that I managed to play using this build in PvPs, just so you guys have an idea of what to expect. It's probably going to be one of the few build videos I'm going to actually upload fights where I lost the duel, but again, it comes with good reasoning. This build is focused on martial arts, as I said. If you use martial arts in PvP, you know what happens. A quick look on the levels. We are using 44 Wood Virtue just because our weapon, as you can see here, primarily scales with wood and fire. So A+ on wood, A- on fire. So I'm using 44 on wood and 99 on fire, which gives us 661 attack power with the main weapon. Earth Virtue is at 9, just so we can get that sweet 30% proportion, so we can have agility A, as you can see here, and then that's basically it. For the special effects, as you saw through the builds, melee attack power, spell duration, flame attack power up to plus 152. Toxin resistance and toxin attack power don't really matter here. Martial arts damage, this is where the build is focused on. We get up to plus 22.2%. Don't forget, this does not accommodate for the value of the increased martial arts damage you get from activating the Subtlety of Fire effect upon landing a martial arts hit. So this is a significant increase on the long run the more you do martial arts. I got martial arts spirit damage of plus 4.3%, which helps, but it's nothing massive. Ranged attack damage doesn't really matter here. Damage taken desperate condition doesn't really matter. Enemy status effect accumulation of 17.5. Burns accumulation of 32.5. Negative effect duration on enemies 11.5. These don't really matter here, neither does this. What matters here is the martial arts spirit consumption of minus 14.4%, which will help you continuously span those spin to wins. Also here we got slow on enemy upon martial arts, haste upon deflection, berserker might upon deflection, power drop upon fatal strike, and the subtlety of fire as spoken previously. Now, best thing to do is to demonstrate what the idea here is, and as usual for all my build videos, I am using my favorite test subject, which is Cow Cow. Just waiting for the loading screen. Again, the idea, it's very simple. You buff with the amplified damage, you buff with the flame weapon, and you just deflect and then do spam martial arts. So this is it. Deflect, martial arts, spin to win all day long. He's already stunned. Again, repeat the process. Amplify damage, flame weapon, get that dodge, and then spin to win again and again and again and again all day long, as long as you can. In this case I couldn't do it anymore because I had just buffed. There we go, spin to win again, and this is basically what you do with this build. And he doesn't even stand a chance. So yeah, this is basically it. This is how the build works, guys. There's not a lot more to demonstrate here. If you are fighting tougher enemies, be mindful that sometimes they are able to activate a critical attack just past your spamming of the spin to win, so be mindful of that. Always be careful.
Think of what we could.
Again, I will now add some PvP fights just for you to have an idea of what happens, what can happen if you use this build in PvP. I won a couple, but I lost more than I won. This build is definitely not something I would recommend for PvP. I cannot stress that enough. But again, thank you guys so much for watching the build video, and for all your incredible support so far. If you haven't subscribed just yet, as usual, I remind you to please do so. It considerably helps the channel grow, and again, I'm looking forward to hit that 2.5k subscribers mark for that next giveaway that I'll be doing on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll just stick the PvP duos now. Now for the PvP, this was actually one of the few fights I managed to win. You might find it strange that I'm just hiding here in the corner, but the fact is I actually know this guy. He helped me testing the build when I was trying to make a few changes to make it more reliable for PvP, which I actually managed to succeed. But again, I don't want to make a build video that you then have to change things for them to work between PvE and PvP. But this is what I was doing, getting some damage in, managed to get a hit here, land that critical strike, and then I finished the job with the fire that I got going from those explosions. Yeah, and I won this duel. As you can see, I'm not going to engage with those two because, as I said previously, I know these guys. They're actually quite fair players. I duel them several times. They're actually quite good. I would say I just got lucky because the guy I actually faced was testing his own build. He was messing around with spirit damage. We had a conversation about it. So yes, this was one of the few duels that I actually managed to win, but not because I used the build as intended to. This build is intended to use martial arts. I didn't use them at all. I was just lucky enough to get him stunned and land a fatal strike and finish it with a spell. As for this one, I lost massively because, again, I was trying to use the build as intended. I was trying to use it by using the martial arts. Again, Beckoning Pine is very nice, but PvP, it's not some place you use martial arts like this. So I'm landing a couple of hits. Again, you see he lands his martial arts. I land the fatal strike with a massive bug there. But then I land the Beckoning Pine, and suddenly I don't understand what happened there. He kind of teleported. Maybe lag was actually helping him. I managed to get another one, but there you go. He manages to hit me. He lands one hit, and I'm dead. So yeah, his chi was stronger than mine. As for this one, again, this one having NPCs actually works better because I can spam the martial arts on the NPCs to trigger the Subtlety of Fire, which you can see down on the screen. And after doing that, I'll be doing way more damage. And I thought, okay, he's going to try to resurrect. This should be 2 hits win, which it was, fair enough. But again, probably he's just not as experienced in PvP as I am, because this was quite easy. Last but not least, I was fighting this guy which uses poison, a very similar poison build to the one I'm using, but again, he's playing cleverly with the poison pits, spams them right in my face to get me poison, and then he tries to get the snare. Again, there is a bit of delay here. I did notice that as well. For some reason I couldn't deflect that, although I'm pretty sure I was on time. And then I deflect him and he doesn't get stunned. I didn't really understand what was going on. Not that it does excuse, as I said, you saw that it should have landed. None of these hits are landing for some reason, and then I land this one. Funny enough, I cast the fire, he manages to dodge all of it, and then he pretty much gets me stunned, and he tries to get me poisoned. He gets this deflect. For some reason I don't manage to land anything. Again, I got a feeling it was due to lag, but he gets me stunned. The moment he gets me stunned, I'm dead. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio!